What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. So in this video, I want to weigh in on several things. I just want to say for those tuning in right now, this is not going to be a word I love to use. Tweety started using, I love this, doomer talk. Many are just not going to watch this video and assume it's negative and comment in the videos, another negative video from Tom Brady. This is not going to be a negative doomer talk video. I do want to go over a few things. Look, I love Mortal Kombat. I want it to be better. And if you don't love MK and you don't want it to be better, then these are probably not the videos for you. Look, there is a lot of shilling and a lot of doomer talk. I mean, I'm just going to, the way it is. You have people who are like, this is the greatest game ever, the greatest MK ever, the greatest scene ever, the greatest everything ever. And people that say, throw it in the trash can and burn it. Both are extremes and both are completely way off their rocker here. This game is kind of at an in-between point. It's kind of teetering right now. Last patch was good. And now we're kind of teetering as to see which direction the game is going to go. And next patch can really make the seesaw go all the way up. Wow, great game. Or go all the way up the other direction of like, wow, we thought it was going to go one way and it didn't. I want to talk about first what the numbers mean, why they are the way they are, and then I'm going to segue into my other main point. But so bear with me here, guys. The combo breaker numbers here, I was one of the people who were negative on this because I was shocked. Maybe I should have waited and taken some thought before I made a video about this. But I thought we were at 500 plus at least, and this is kind of shocking to me. Now, there are those that are going to say, this is good. We're at a good spot. We're thriving. This is the second biggest MK in Combo Breaker history. That's actually true, but not true, really. Mortal Kombat X at 273. That was 10 years ago. Now we're at 274. So really, they're about the same. So technically, we are the second biggest, but not really. And look, there's a couple of things that I want to bring out before I get onto my point here. This was for MKX. MKX was out for 2 months. MK11 is out for MK1 is out for 8 months right now. Combo Breaker 2019, we had 807 entrants. So MK9 was not as big as MKX. MKX was bigger. MK11 was bigger than MKX, at least for the first 2 years. And then MK1 just doesn't seem to be following the trend of the next one is bigger and better. Now, there's a couple of things that really kind of about the numbers here. For one, Mortal Kombat 1 is hard to quantify numbers-wise because while we are 8 months old, and MK1 and MKX, their first combo breakers were within the 2-month period, so they had the new game hype. Our new game hype tournament was East Coast Throwdown. Many will point out doesn't have the cachet of Combo Breaker, although it is a major tournament, great tournament. I've been to ECT many times. So it's hard to quantify where MK1 is because people are always going to use these reasons to justify these numbers. I do want to look at our scene in MKX compared to games like Street Fighter, and Tekken. Now, Street Fighter was on Street Fighter 4 still. The end of Street Fighter 4, Tekken was on Tag Tournament 2, which didn't go over very well. So I look at other scenes, like if I say, look, Street Fighter has exploded, Tekken has exploded, Guilty Gear has exploded. These scenes, even Killer Instinct has more entrants now than it did, 10 years ago. But of course, many people are going to bring up, hey, it was Street Fighter 4 at the end of it. It was Tag 2, which didn't go over very well, which is true. So I'm going to go to Evo 2019 now. This is MK11. So this is 5 months into MK11. This is not a, 2-month kind of thing like the first Combo Breaker. This is 5 months in to MK11. So it's a little closer to where we are now in MK1's life. Look where our scene was. Here, Tekken 7 was out. Street Fighter 5 was out. So Tekken had around 1900, Street Fighter close to 2000, and MK was right around, now this is, again, 4 or 5 years ago. This is 5 years ago. So these other scenes have exploded. But Mortal Kombat is kind of where you think it would be. Like, it is a Western game. It's not a worldwide thing. At least it hasn't caught on worldwide. It's more of a Western thing. There are a couple of countries outside of the US, North America that do play the game, but nowhere near the level of Tekken, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, things like that. But MK's holding its own here, right? It's kind of where it should be for like, look, it's not as wide as these other games, but it's still comparable. It's behind, but still comparable. And now you look at where it is, and these numbers do not show that. I also want to point out that Evo this year, Mortal Kombat 1 is not only way behind Street Fighter 6, it's behind Street Fighter 3. That's right. Street Fighter. And you know what? If they put Street Fighter 2 there, that has a 50-50 shot at beating out Mortal Kombat 1 too. If they put something like Hyper Fighting there, or just for the nostalgia, people, that might actually beat out, or like Super Turbo, that might actually beat out MK1. Who knows? But Third Strike, a game made 20 years ago, is beating MK1. And we're going to have a situation where Tekken has probably like 4,000, Street Fighter between 5 and 7,000. MK is going to have somewhere around 250 to 280, and that's just, this is kind of where we are now. And this is just not normal. I mean, if a game like Street Fighter has 7,000, Tekken maybe has 5, like Street Fighter last year had 7,000, let's say it has 6 or 5 this year. Tekken, let's say, is around 4 or 5 this year. Well, if MK was even at like 15 to 17, 1,800, or even anywhere in that ballpark, sure, they would have, 3 to 4,000 more than us, but we would still be like, okay, we're a little bit of growth. We're not at their level, but we are a Western audience. It's more, it's not as widespread worldwide. That would make sense. For us to be losing to Third Strike at Evo, that is not normal. That does not say, hey guys, that is not normal. That is not normal. We are not in a good place. What these numbers show, you look at the mystery game tournament. By the way, MK1, I believe, has the biggest pot bonus of any game here. We look at a game like Mystery Game Tournament. Why is it bigger than Mortal Kombat? Well, we know Mystery Game is a bunch of different games. People enter that for fun. The Mystery Game Tournament is a combination of entrants of people who are there for other games, and they happen to enter the Mystery Game Tournament for fun. And a lot of these games get the fun crowd. Like, all of these Tekken 8 players are not there to win the tournament. You have people that are there for other games that also enter multiple games. Tekken 8, I'm sure, has a good portion of them. Street Fighter 6 as well, combined with their hardcore tournament audience and just people that love Street Fighter and Tekken. MK has probably, they're not getting the people that are there that play MK because a lot of those people aren't entering. So there were several prominent players back at the end of MK11 that would go to tournaments, enter every other game, but not MK11. And they were they were some of the best MK11 players in the world, would enter everything else, not MK11. And we're kind of at that point now, where we're seeing people that can play other games and they'll enter other games, but not MK11. And they're not like the high level players, but people that would generally enjoy Mortal Kombat, that would have entered Mortal Kombat games in the past and kind of played. So really this just kind of shows that while MK still has a decent amount of like the hardcore competitive audience compared to like some of the other games, I would say maybe 150 of the 274 for MK are there to try to like compete and win. But we talk about MK as the casuals game. The casuals love MK. But other games seem to have a lot more of their casual audience entering for fun and enjoyment. And MK's casual audience is kind of like, I'm not traveling for this game. Because there's no love and passion. They don't seem to enjoy it. And let me give you the reason why. It is not fun for this game to be at a spot where the cameo runs the game. Sure, we have several characters that are like Ermac, right? Great character on his own. And you put the cameo in, really fun to play Ermac, I'm sure, because he's his own character and then the cameo enhances it. There are several characters that do this. Johnny Cage does it as well. Several characters in the game. Quan Chi, I love the buffs they give. You see Quan Chi used with, how many cameos? You see Quan Chi players use her with Janet Cage, Serena, Sonya, Chameleon, Tremor. Every once in a while, you'll even see a kind of rogue one use Kung Lao, right? So people use Quan Chi with all kind of crazy ones, right? But even the more meta ones, you'll still see like Serena, Sonya, Chameleon, or Tremor. Multiple cameos being used. He's not locked in any one thing or another. So what we see is we see when the game can be played. It's like, wow, this looks really good. This looks really fun. But then we have what I call the heavy lifting problem, where it was designed almost where a cameo will take the worst characters in the game and make them very viable, but then take the best characters in the game and make them really, really powerful. And it's kind of like that's their balancing tool, the cameo. The problem is the best characters in the game don't really need the cameo to survive. The worst characters do. So when you take a character who doesn't necessarily need a cameo to live, it just kind of like enhances them, they're significantly more powerful than the characters that need a cameo just to survive. And this is in what I call the chameleon dilemma. See, it's not fun when your character or characters can only do your cameo's moves because none of their moves are really that good without the cameo. So you have to use the cameo's moves. Hence chameleon. So we see Tekken Master was saying that Chameleon's cameo cooldown should get touched. It comes way too fast, especially moves like Katana Fan Lift. Again, weighing in on all Chameleon's cooldown moves. Like, look at how these moves, they cool down so much faster than everything else. And if you compare it, the Melina's roll, which is a launcher, 9 seconds. Katana's fan toss, which mainly doesn't get used from range. It gets used up close. That can also be a launcher up close range. It's a combo starter, 8-second cooldown. Glaive is a free get in for free tool, a pressure tool, and a combo starter, 7-second cooldown. And number 3, my favorite, Katana's Fan Lift, which pretty much makes everything combo, makes everything a mind game to punish. Can also be a combo breaker. And Melina's Ambush Sai, which can extend combos or start combos that have no chance of turning into a combo. And Jade's Glow also pretty good, a 3-second cooldown. People will point to, well, Motaro's got a 2-second cooldown. That's for his Reflect and his single tail shot. None of these are really anything close to anything Jade has. Kung Lao, we know, has had his faster cooldown, but none of these things are true combo starters on their own the way Jade is, or Melina is, or even the Fan Lift is. Foxy also made a tweet where he said Chameleon is doing too much. This is all after the Pro Series, to which the majority of the cameos were all Chameleon, and a lot of the characters were Johnny Cage and the top characters, and getting Chameleon as the cameo. Says Glaive gets everyone in, no effort. Fan Lift is acting like a combo breaker and making unsafe moves either safe or have a mind game to punish. Ball Roll giving every character the MK11 Sub-Zero forward 2 overhead and basically no cooldown. Asks, is she carrying? And says yes. I want to show another tweet here. Tekken Master quoted Rewind, who said, after seeing Foxy's take on Chameleon, I am genuinely curious why NRS, instead of trying to make all cameos useful and have counterplay to one another, they just nerf the broke and drop another Mickey Mouse cameo. If you're not playing her, you're not trying to win. Tekken Master replied to this saying, she has 6 cameo moves and the cooldown is so crazy how fast it generates. Needs an urgent patch for her before Final Combat becomes Chameleon all over the place. Rewind says it's about to be runaway into Glaive Toss, into Dash, into Melina mix. So what has happening here, this is the number one reason why we see this. The game is not enjoyable because what the game has become is you have a handful of characters who are excellent characters and the cameo adds to them. And then you have some characters who are just garbage, but the argument is, but Chameleon, you don't have to use any of your own moves, you just use Chameleon's moves. One, as a player, it is not enjoyable to not be able to use 90% of your special moves, 99%. You get to use maybe one special move and use Chameleon to make that move even work. And then the rest of the moves are only her moves. So you're only using your cameo's moves, not your own. In many cases, your character is the cameo and the cameo becomes your character. You're not playing your character, you're playing your cameo, which is just not fun. Nobody wants to do that. But then when you make a cameo so powerful, because the best ability is availability, which is why Chameleon is the way she is, when you make her so powerful, a cameo so powerful, that it's designed to do all the heavy lifting to make even bad characters really viable. Then you put her on a character who can use all their moves, and now they got all their moves coming at you, plus Chameleon's moves. You got like so many moves coming at you. It's like, this is ridiculous. Every 2 seconds, everything's getting for free. Or not literally 2 seconds, you know what I mean? Everything is like a get in for free, then a mix, then a... It becomes something where people are like, this is too much, which is why they're asking for a nerf to Chameleon. Now, of course, the reason to answer the question as to why you can't take the other cameos and buff them up to like a Chameleon's level is because, like I said, the best ability is availability. Now, if I look at some of these other cameos, what are you going to buff up? You're going to take Cyrex. You're going to buff up Cyrex's cooldown. We already remember what happened when Cyrex was more available. People didn't seem to like it. You're going to take Striker's grenades, give them a 9-second cooldown like Chameleon. I don't think people would like that very much. You're going to take, even like I said, Frost her punch rush. If you gave it like a 3-second cooldown like the Katana fan lift, you would never move. Every 3 seconds, you'd have a full screen punch rush coming at you. This game, or Sector, you want to give him a 9-second homing missile, an 8-second homing missile. This game is not designed to have a lot of these abilities going off constantly because there's just no way around them. I brought up in the past, other assist games have things like super jump, air block, air dash, push block. This game offers none of those mechanics, so you can't have all these assists going off too crazily because there's just none of the other options to navigate around a minefield of assists going off while your character is moving around. So the real to make counterplay would be find a balance between Frost, let's just say, and Chameleon. 15-second cooldown, no reason for this, versus 8-second cooldown, no reason for that, or 3-second in some instances. Kind of split the difference. Maybe a little more cooldown, a little less cooldown. Somewhere in the middle is the answer, and then all the cameos are kind of at a good spot. And they're available, but not too available. And then what you can do is make the characters themselves have individual options for counterplay. This way, all the assists become usable because the character tools get buffed up, and they also can kind of have counterplay. Character plus this assist can counter this character plus that assist, etc. But the answer isn't make all the cameos available because that's just not an option in this game. They're not going to introduce the mechanics to make that happen. What makes this game not fun is that feeling of most of these characters are lifted by the cameo. And when people say, oh, well, this Sub-Zero is a great one. Sub-Zero's good because, or Scorpion or whatever character, because you have Chameleon. But then people are saying, no Chameleon, we've got to go ahead and adjust this cameo. So what happens when they adjust these cameos? Then all those characters go right back to the bottom. Now they're waiting to be completed. The answer is if they just kind of split the difference on some of these cameo cooldowns, available enough, not too available, and the ones that can be available would be like the single dagger from Serena, Kung Lao's low hat, things like that. But some of these devastating ones probably should be adjusted so they're all kind of in line with each other. And then you got to look at the characters, right? No one's talking about these cameos with some of these other characters outside of Chameleon because these characters are very complete. Johnny Cage is a very complete character. Ermac is a really complete character. I love the buffs they gave to Reptile. He's significantly better. I call it the Reptile treatment. Kind of needs to be given to all the characters across the board. Give it to Shang, to Sub-Zero, to Scorpion, so they don't need a cameo to do the heavy lifting. And then they can also get rid of heavy lifting cameos, so all the cameos just do just the right amount of lifting, and then the characters do the majority of the lifting themselves. That would make the game much more fun, much more enjoyable. When someone is hearing, you should just play this cameo and just do your cameos moves and not your own, that's not an enjoyable way to play the game. And that's really why these numbers truly where they are. What these numbers signify is that people do not find this game enjoyable. We are missing the casual audience that says, I play this game for fun. Now we're saying even if they go to a tournament, they're not entering MK. They'll enter everything else, but not Mortal Kombat. That's kind of what this number shows. So really, if NRS's if they do a patch with Homelander that really kind of shakes things up a lot, I don't know if that's going to happen because you have Pro Series, you have Evo. Really, I think if NRS waits till after Evo to really drop a bombshell, I don't think it's going to go over well. I really think if they wait till after Evo and, around end of August, early September at the game's 1 year point says, now we're finally going to finish the game and here's your expansion for, $49.99, people are not going to be very happy. I mean, we're literally getting to almost a year point here to where just functionally things are still not in the best place. Crossplay is kind of janky right now for PC players. We still don't know how Warrior Shrine is still coming soon. Online practice is still coming soon. To wait for after Evo to really start getting some of these things, wow, I don't really know if that's going to work. I think if they really I think the next patch needs to be, Homelander. We've gone ahead. We've done some of these suggestions of the tournament players. The cameos are a little more evened out with their cooldowns. And then look what we did to the characters. And then the game would be in a good enough place to kind of keep a wait and see until they finally get around to doing everything. And then their expansion, whatever. If the next patch is still more baby stepping in the right direction, man, this is going to be tough, man. It's going to be a tough road. But it's there. The game is there to be fixed to a point to where I think it's enjoyable by most people. And I do think that the game, will it ever have that mega explosion? No, it won't. But it can be at a point where the game can continue to grow. You got to understand the next game will most likely not be Mortal Kombat. It will more than likely be like another Injustice or something like that. So this game will need to be able to live through that game's time period and keep growing the MK scene. So I think if they can bring things together soon enough, I think this game can be at a point where it will never be an explosion, but it can begin to grow and grow the new modern MK community into the future, I guess. And then when, through the next game and then when the next MK comes out, the scene will be growing, be more established, and can really start things off with a bang. But let me know what you guys think. I know most of you are going to say this is another negative video. Why does this guy hate the game? This is just not the case. And I want to bring up that everyone out there and there's been a ton of videos released lately for people who are like, oh, all the negative talk on the game, all the doom and gloom talk on the game. Almost every single one of these people, you go on their channel, they've got videos that say, did Peacemaker save the game? Did Ermac save the game? Did this cameo save the game? Did this save the game? Already implying that there was something that needed saving. So for all of them that have these videos saying all the negative talk, bro, you got videos on your channel saying, did this save the game? The savior? Come on now. Let's not pretend like, oh, that those same people didn't notice the problem. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm hoping you guys don't find this to be a negative video. Another podcast coming up this weekend. Wait and see what's going on with Homelander. Stay tuned for more content.